in LA with me. We're in LA together. But he's Dallas as well, so, and an actor, and so his work is just amazing. You can watch him on. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. I don't love at all talking about my resume, so can we just please give it up one more time for the day before Christmas? Happy camper, and how about don't point out nothing else that we had not paid attention to because it was so well done. Okay, well done. With how everything, we're not gonna name names and other things, but you know, everyone's wig was on the whole way. The clothes matched the whole way through. It was well done, and the story was good. What I appreciate about your film is that we hadn't necessarily seen this plot before, you know, because sometimes you see a Christmas film, like my mom is like, you know how moms are, and as an actor, you know how your mom and them be, I saw this Hallmark film, you gotta be on Hallmark. But it's like this, the same story every time, but this was something different that we hadn't seen before, and it was just really, really well executed. So thank you again. And oh, by the way, if you look under your seats, look under and see if you see anything. We do have a giveaway of a car outside of the car. We don't. It ain't that kind of Christmas miracle. We left all that in the film. Amen. You don't get a car, you don't get a car, you don't get a car. Amen. Talk to Pastor King afterward, he'll pray for you. So tell us a little bit about your journey to this moment, because you know people know you coming up all through, you know, and they see your gift and they know. How many knew Puri was gonna go somewhere and do something? We just don't know what all of that entails, and many people aren't surprised. But for you being on the journey yourself, it can be a tedious, will this happen? How's it gonna happen? Will it ever happen? Tell us just a little bit about your journey. So really quickly, my journey is, I knew it was time for me to leave Dallas. I just knew, I can't tell you how. And I went to Pat Smith's Treasure You program, and it was wonderful. And the one young lady asked me if you could do anything in the world. I was like, oh, nonprofit. She was like, no. If you really could do something, and I said I would act because I didn't believe I could do that, believe and do it. And I just finally said I would act. And she said, well, where would you go? New York or LA? And I was like, New York, because New York is where you really learn. You know, New York is where the thespians are. New York, I can go to see the Broadway plays. And so I went, not knowing anybody, left my whole family, had an Abraham journey, left everything, and stayed in, it's so funny, I stayed in this place where it was for women. And my friends, they make fun of me and say it was like for battered women, but it was not at all. It was like a hostel. And I stayed there in a twin size bed and a sink. And it was like a dormitory type situation. Stayed there for 4 years while I was my entire time in New York. And was able to, the way I got the job at BET, crazy, because I was not going to interview for a job. I got a job on the spot while I was there. In my worst moment, when I was even questioning even the existence of the Lord, you know, and you know I grew up in the church, but because of how everything was going, I was like, what am I doing here? But my grandmother, when they say the prayers of the righteous availeth much, and I'm still, bless her heart, her soul, let her continue to rest, but I'm still living off the prayers of my grandmother for real, because she was like, you stay there, baby. You ain't been there long enough for you to go home. And went there, still didn't know what was gonna happen, because remember, you know, I wanted to act. And then was able to still go to BET, work for one of the most amazing people, Connie Orlando. And she, you know, I learned so much behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. And it just all started happening, you know? Nothing that I planned for, nothing that I said I wanted. I promise you, things really kind of just dropped like that. You know, and I'm thankful, and don't think that it hasn't been, you know, all the way easy, but I'm just saying the way that my path has been, I'm like, it's not me, it can't be me, because I'm not even smart enough to think of this. So it has to be the Lord who actually, you know, has gotten me on this path. So yeah, so just leaving there and going to LA and then saying, I love operations, I love the business part of it, I love acting, and I don't ever want to stop acting, but I see so many things. And I like to fill in the holes and fill in the blanks
I like to know, like, you have so many creators, but what is your budget? Does it match? Does your production design match? If you're supposed to be this big family that's rich, what's your house look like? I loved all the details. So that's how it just happened, yeah.
Well, we know the steps of good people are ordered by God,
Amen.
but you can't just get to your destination without having been formed along the way.
Mm-hmm.
What did you learn while you had your job at BET and was behind the scenes?
Making sure, behind the scenes, I learned that there's so many genres, there's so many things, and while I was there, I've learned, so it really was about me being a servant. Serious, and I'm not even trying to be all deep for real, because I ain't even, y'all know I'm a little thug. But it really was about me serving and looking at everything. So when I would go to different sets, being Mary Jane or The Game or just all the sets that we had, I learned to pay attention to detail. I would look at the dailies. I learned that we had to do rewrites. You have to develop a story. Even though I'm not in it, I'm learning. I'm learning what the network wants. I'm being informed about how important is music, Carmen Rogers. How important is music, yes. How important is everything that makes it all up, the sauce that makes the sauce. But also being grounded. Making sure you go where you're supposed to go. Making sure you don't go where you're not supposed to go. And being able to say, oh, it's okay, I don't want it that bad. I'm cool, So, I've learned a lot. I can't, the legal part of it, and I'm like, listen, I've talked to Brandy, the legal part of it, the accounting part of it, and I'm like, look, I'm a creative. I thought I was operations, but can y'all do y'all thug thizzle? Because I don't know. Tell me what this means. And the contracts of it, making sure you have one, making sure that contract is valid, making sure what you reading everything that's in there, making sure you still know your worth, because I still was able to act and still serve as an employee at the same time.
Yeah, well, the good thing about, what you do is, for those of us who are actors, we are waiting for someone to give us a job.
Oh, my gosh.
Will you please give me a job? You know what I mean? But
Absolutely.
when you form One Happy Camper, then you are now in the position to give people jobs.
Absolutely, yes.
And also give yourself a job, Madam
Yes.
Mayor, if you want to be it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yes.
So tell us about One Happy Camper and what the vision for that is and how it came to be.
Yeah, so it's a play off my maiden name, Camper, because I am married. Where is my husband?
Where's Doc Rivers?
All right, Doc. So it's a play off of my maiden name, One Happy Camper. And I didn't know I wanted to be a producer until, again, I started working. But I also have colleagues at Netflix, at Hulu, at Starz, at the different, I have them at the different networks. And so I was like, oh no, if I could do a movie a week or something like that, that would be great. While I'm waiting for someone to give me a job too, because we have to depend on someone else's yes. And there's so many elements when it comes to being cast. So it's one of those things but I still am, I still am knowledgeable in this. So I still know how to produce. I'm working on a feature that's, right now, another one, and that's with, Lil Rel and Anna Maria Horsford, who was such a great person. She was Thelma in Amen and the mama in Friday. I'm dating myself. Things like that. So So I wanted to do One Happy Camper so that I could give people a job. So that this one I had to get approval for my cast on this one because it's my first one.
Sure.
But now that I am learning, and now that I'm on more productions and learning that, I do want to be able to give my friends jobs, and not because it's nepotism, because they're talented,
Right? Because they
know how to be a good storyteller.
Yeah.
Not because what I'm saying. Like, I love good storytellers.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things like, I know if I have the opportunity, I would wreck and rock and roll with this.
Yeah.
And so there's a thing where I want to be able to fund my own film so that I can have the say of who's cast in it.
Yeah.
And my desire is to do something in Dallas like once a year, whether it's a play or whether it's a film, because my organization is actually registered here. So I want to make sure that I'm always coming back to where I started the arts,
Yeah.